Welcome to Comadres y Comics. Comadres y Comics is a podcast hosted by 3 Latina women.
We highlight the Latinx presence in the comic book industry as creators, characters, and fans.
Join us as we talk chisme, comics, fandom, and beer. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Comadres y Comics. This is episode 281. We are your hosts. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kristen.
And Jen is MIA.
Jen has a job where she wakes up at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. in the morning. She works at the airport, and it is a food service place, and so she opens early, like the airport opens early, and sometimes she never wakes up from her naps after work, which understandable, but it's a struggle sometimes for us to record because we all are just in various states of tiredness and exhaustion.
Yeah. Like sometimes when we schedule a recording on Monday, I have to record and then I have to do my second job, which thankfully is in my house, so I would work remotely. But then I'll work from like whenever we are done recording, 7 or 8, and then I'll start working up until like midnight, and then I have to go to my day job the next day. So
That's too much. My bedtime is 8 o'clock. My bedtime's 8 o'clock, and I wake up on Tuesdays generally at 4 a.m. to go run. And so tomorrow I decided I was going to give myself some time off because I am still trying to physically and emotionally recover from Free Comic Book Day. And I'm not as fortunate as some of those who may be listening to take the time to close my shop the next day and rest. I am not at that place yet, nor do I have employees that like I used to. So I was at work the very next day, also by myself, because Eddie had to take an unscheduled trip. So I was there by myself and trying to cover my FOC orders because I didn't have a chance to do them the week before. So this is all behind the scenes for listeners who always wonder to themselves, what's it like to run a comic book store? It is constant tiredness and stress and frustration, but also fun and enjoyment. And honestly, they always say, if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Not true. I love this job, and I feel like I'm working so hard right now.
Oh no, but just to piggyback on that, your event was amazing. It was really great. The space was super cool. Everybody was super nice. I got to meet the other gentleman that's working on Compton Comics Expo. They have a
that's
date.
right.
It's in October.
Yes.
It's in October. They're gonna do it, and I asked them specifically because I want to make sure that our celebration for our 10-year anniversary doesn't clash with theirs.
Yeah.
And they're doing it October 24th. So the rest of the weeks are available to us to schedule our event. So that's very exciting.
My October dance card is filling up very quickly. And my run group wants to go run the New York Marathon. Not the real New York Marathon because none of us got in, but now that I'm thinking about it, thank goodness I didn't get in because October is going to be another month of just nonstop. So yes, I forgot that I forgot that Ray is one of the founders and coordinators of putting all that together. So and I did know that they had picked October, and that obviously we want to be involved. So hopefully we get to start working on that soon.
Absolutely. I'm already like filling up our playlist. We're up to 5 hours of Spanish music. So very exciting. I'm discovering a lot of great music now coming out of Mexico, like a lot of indie bands and stuff. So I'm like really
Mm.
excited about that. Because it was
Ah,
always about like Maná y Los Caifanes and
yeah.
like Soda Stereo. Like it's always been the like the big markers, but now there's a lot of bands that they themselves have influenced that are coming out with amazing music. So
So
I'm
I
very excited.
dated a rock en español music producer. And he took me to some concerts and introduced me to a lot of rock en español bands. And I really enjoyed a lot of them. And I went to some like little hole in the wall concerts here in Los Angeles. It was a lot of fun. I'm not a Mexican music connoisseur. I didn't grow up listening to any kind of Mexican music whatsoever. And so I kind of poo-pooed like, ugh, rock en español, but I really enjoyed it. One of our first dates, he took me to go see, who was it? What's her name? Julieta Venegas.
Oh yeah, she's from Tijuana.
So,
And she has a twin sister.
oh, really? Oh, but anyway,
Yeah.
and she does the Amores Perros main song.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe I remember that. And she plays the accordion, which I thought could not be done like rock and punk rocky. But
Oh
yeah, she
no!
freaking pulls it off.
There is I think I mentioned this in a past episode, a cover band who they do popular pop music in norteño style using the accordion the whole entire time. It's amazing. And again, I'm not
Oh
one to
yeah.
listen to Mexican music or Spanish music, but I love it. It's so cool. But they're from the Texas area. If they ever come to California to tour, I would love to go. And I can't remember. It's
Oh, I've
something
seen them on
band.
Reels.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're really amazing. I actually liked a lot of their videos. They're really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen them too.
I got hooked on them because all the videos that would come up were Smiths. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I started seeing them do other stuff, and not just like 80s alt stuff, but like 90s rock bands. And I can't remember something else that they did the other day. They also did Linger, I think, from the Cranberries, which was 80s. But
Mhm.
they're so talented, and you see different shots, but it's all one guy. I'm assuming there is more people in the band than one guy, though.
No, I think he does all his instruments and then
Oh,
he
he
just
does?
loops them together.
Right, but
Yeah, but
when
I'll
they go
double
on
check.
tour, he
I'll
can't
double
do
check.
that.
You're right. I don't know. I'd have to dig into that, but that sounds really amazing. Yeah.
I'm
Um,
I'm looking up to
yeah,
see
I
what
had
his
such a
name
great
was.
time. I also got a chance to get a copy of LA Strong, which I really wanted to get my hands on, so that was great. I got there's this one. Oh, you know what was really super cool about Free Comic Book Day is that you invited the high school kids
Oh
to come
yeah.
and do a table, and then one of the kids, this is his first show, okay, and he had a lot of prints and stuff of his artwork. He sold out of
Mm-hmm.
everything, and I was like, damn, that's kind of amazing to do that on your very first try. And like
Yes.
now I feel like that he's inspired and that he wants to do more. And that just, you could see it in his face. And it just made my heart sing because I'm just like, oh man, you really want to talk about inspiring kids, but like it's really hard, that they're going through hormones and puberty and everything, and you don't talk the same language either. Like there's so many like words that I don't understand what they mean that they say. Like 67 is one, I think. I don't know.
Not
And
67. It's 67.
69,
6
67.
7.
So anyway, so seeing you guys do this for this kid that you could see his face light up and just talking about his whole experience, tabling for the first time with his art was just really amazing. You don't get to see that very often as a grown up, but that was melted my heart. It was great.
Yeah, there were There was the teacher of the digital art program from the high school across the street from our shop called Uni High. It's short for University High School. And actually, there's a lot of creatives, actors, actresses, and musicians that went to that high school, same as Santa Monica High School, but that I didn't actually really know about. But anyway, the digital arts class produces a comic book every year, and students take one page of the book, so it's like a big like conglomeration of a whole bunch of creators and artists getting together and doing digital art to produce this comic book. And they write the story, they do the art, they letter, and this digital art teacher was also there, and he is very talented as well, but they were there mostly to promote the book. And so some of the students who are in the class also had art, and these students come into the shop almost every day during the week talking about comics. They come in, they look through the bins, they buy 99-cent books. They're always talking about Invincible. And so we've just developed kind of like a relationship with these kids, and they just happened to mention that they were creators. And so I said, oh my God, you should come and have your own table at our free comic day. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, we're already going to have the Uni High kids class come. Some of the kids that we talked to are in that class, but some weren't. I'm like, but you guys can have your own table. So 3 kids that come into the shop on a regular basis shared a table, and each one of them sold out. It was kind of really, like Sarah saying, heartwarming to see just like the excitement in their eyes, and just also the validation of their craft, that they, you know, have a skill that they can do and could, you know, potentially at some point actually turn it into a career. So I was really excited for them to come and to participate, and I'm glad that it went as well for them as it did.
Yeah, they gave us a copy of their comic book. It's comic book number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that it was number 3, and I said, hey, is this like a ongoing story, or is this like I can read it individually? And she said that I could read it individually. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, can I have another one for my co-host, Jen? So hopefully that'll be down our review list.
Yeah, it's
So,
called
but yeah,
Patchwork this year.
I was like, I was like, this is so cool. Like, there's this class where they're like doing comic books. That was really, really cool. I didn't know they sold out. That was awesome.
Yeah, well, the
That was
comic
really cool.
book just got printed, and the teacher just got his hands on it that Thursday before Free Comic Book Day. So he was really sweating it because he had to wait for funding through the school, and you know how all that red tape works when it comes to county entities, because it is an LAUSD school. And so we had talked to him about doing a release party for the book at the shop, because I thought it'd be cool to invite the kids and their parents and just celebrate this amazing project that they worked on. And it kept getting pushed back. He originally thought it was going to come out in March, and he said April, and here we are now in May getting the book. But we are still planning on doing something at the shop with the book, because I think it is something we're celebrating, and getting more young people interested and involved in making comic books is definitely something that we support. So hopefully we have that release party at the shop soon.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Well, there's a lot of great stuff you guys are doing with the community, and I think it shows. I mean, you guys have always been part of a bigger comic community, but now just engaging the kids from the high schools is really, really cool. Although, there is a big although. I was really surprised because I went across the street to the coffee shop to get my coffee, and I had to tell them, hey, across the street they're giving out free comic books. If you have kids, bring them on over. It's free for the whole family, and I'm giving out conchas. And they're like, oh, I had no idea. I'll let the people that come in know if it, like mention it to them. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. So I am here to say that for next year, I'll take one Friday and just work half day and drive over there, and I'll be the one passing out the posters for people to put on their
Yay!
window in their businesses. So I know you guys get really busy and overwhelmed with such a big production of it that I will volunteer a half day on a Friday and just go to the library and go to the other businesses and let them know that Free Comic Book Day is coming. So
Yay!
that way the whole block knows. Yeah.
Yes. Also, we don't have a sign up above our shop. For those of you who are listening, they're like, what the heck are they talking about? This is Kristen talking. I co-own a comic book store in West Los Angeles called Santa Monica Comics Company. We're fairly new. We keep telling people we're 3 months old, but turns out we're 5 months old. And we don't have any signage yet because who knew signage costs tens of thousands of dollars. So we are working on being able to afford that, and it may take us some time, but that just means that it's taking us a little bit more work and time to let people in the neighborhood know that we're there. So people are finding out about us. The amount of people who came in on Free Comic Book Day saying, oh my God, when did you move here? I'm so happy to have the shop in the neighborhood. There was a lot of people. So a lot of new faces, a lot of people discovering us. Hopefully they are Wednesday warriors soon, coming to pick up their books on Wednesdays. But yes, it is definitely something that we need and that we want and that we are looking towards. So my mom was like, maybe you should crowdfund that. And Yam was like, you know what? Honestly, that's not a bad idea.
I was just thinking that as you were saying that, and also maybe having that auction just for the signage.
Yes, actually, that's a
like
good idea. We have some pieces that we collected for an auction to fundraise, and we were going to originally, our thought was we were going to do that during Free Comic Book Day, but because it's only Eddie and I, it was too much for us to manage and handle, so we ended up deciding not to do that. But that is a good idea, and if maybe we can collect a few more things to be able to do that, to raise that money, I think that would be great.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'm thinking of talking to my brother of making some of his perler bead artwork and maybe donating that for the auction too.
Oh yeah.
Because he does a lot of like anime and a lot of like superhero kind of concept stuff.
Yeah.
But also I was thinking, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I'm old. I'm old. Yeah, no, but that sounds like a really good idea, and I think it'd be really beneficial to get that sign. And I'm excited that maybe we can like make like a handmade, hand painted Free Comic Book Day banner that we could put over the railing of the that outside kind of like area where we were all tabling at. That sounds like something that people can like do as a community, like put in like their own little kind of spin on it. But I don't know. I got it really excited because of all this stuff and just being out there and conversating with people and having real conversations, not just being behind a computer and just doing my work every day, all day, and being out there talking to people was really just amazing to me. Like I also noticed that I'm less, because you know how I get like anxious sometimes when I talk to people. It was a lot less this year, a lot less. So
Oh,
I'm like
good.
really excited about that.
Yes, and
Yeah, and I
kudos to
have some,
Sarah because she had to man the table all by herself because I was inside the shop running the cash register and helping customers. Obviously, Jen doesn't live in the area anymore, so she wasn't able to make it. So Sarah was at the table all by herself talking about Comadres Comics and handing out conchas. This is her favorite
yes,
event to have a table at because she's able to hand out food. And so we hand out
yes,
conchas, obviously, because it's on our logo and it's our rating system 1 to 3 conchas.
yeah, and I have to say, your idea about putting some books that we reviewed out there along with the conchas was really good. I ended up selling 4 books. I was like, what? She was right on it. Yeah. But also, one of the specific conversations, I had many great conversations, but one of them was this gentleman, he had purchased, Tata Rambo, and he's like, I got it because of the art, and it caught my eye. He goes, but the story, I just couldn't get that into it. And he goes, well, what did you think? And then I went on to talk about like where the story kind of came from, Henry Barajas and his
Did he read
grandfather,
it and couldn't
and
get into
how
it, or did he just read the back of it and thought he couldn't get into it?
I, you know what, I didn't ask that specific question.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he just read because it did seem like he just read the back. He's all like, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, and I was like, okay, I get it. And then we got into this, and I'm like, I really like the sincerity about the story that was told. I mean, you saw how the grandfather would pour kind of alcohol into his morning coffee, like, that kind of like sincerity in a character, because people aren't usually just 100% good and doing 100% like amazing work with the community. There's going to be some like darkness within us. We make different choices. I really like that sincerity about the book and the character, which is obviously a real person. And then he's like, you know what, you're right. Like, I didn't think of it that way. He goes, I lost my husband to cancer, and um, I just was thinking another way, and I was living my life, and then is when he started to get worse that I realized that I should have these conversations about him telling his life story. But it was at a point where it was almost too late because he just couldn't, he didn't have the strength for it. And I was like, damn, that conversation hit on a totally different level. And it just was just inspired by a comic book. Like, that's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So like just the conversations people have and the realizations, and just really just great stuff. It was really just amazing stuff. I really, 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 really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad that you
But
had.
also,
I'm glad you had a good time. But what were you gonna say?
yes. But also, I bought 5 tickets for the raffle for that Spider-Man, the CGC.
Yes.
What Spider-Man was it?
It was
And
a
it was signed by Stan Lee.
it was a CGC graded 5.0 Amazing Spider-Man 11 signed by Stan Lee.
Yeah, I really thought I was gonna win. I was like, I can feel it. It's in my bones. But then this other fellow won, Angel, and the story behind his winning, I was like, okay, I'm not mad anymore. I'm not mad anymore. Just this young man, he had sold a Pokemon card that was worth a lot of money, and he was gonna use that money to buy this comic book. And then he won the raffle. So like he had already the love for that book since
Yes.
way before
He
Free Comic Book Day. So
Before Eddie decided to raffle it off, he showed it to him and said, "Oh, look what I got in this collection." And immediately he said, "I want to buy it." And he's like, "How much is it?" And Eddie's like, "Well, I haven't priced it yet, but this is around that price I think it's gonna be." And it was $999.99. And he was like, "Okay."
wow.
He's like, "Okay. Let me try to figure something out, and hopefully it's here next after the weekend." Well, during that time, Eddie decided to just raffle it off because he was having a hard time um, deciding to put it up on eBay because it was restored. And so it had the whatever color label it is when your comic is restored from CGC. And some collectors don't really appreciate buying books that are restored because it's not like authentically that comic. It's some change has been made to it. And so Eddie's like, you know what if we do this instead? And just to really encourage people to come to Free Comic Book Day, and they can win if you make a purchase, you get a ticket and you can win. So that's what we did. And he came, and he actually was the cosplayer that we had there to kind of, garner attention to the event. He dressed up as Spider-Man, and he walked around for a little bit, and it was cool to have Spider-Man walking around. And he really had this he has this love for Spider-Man, and he really had it in his heart that he wanted that book so much so he didn't sell the Pokemon card. He was going to sell it to buy the book. And so so he had told us afterwards that that's what his plan was, and so it all turned out good because he had interest in it. He was gonna pay for it and buy it, and then he ended up winning it. So
that was just such a beautiful story, and just a great overall Free Comic Book Day tale. So that was really cool. So I am hoping that all you listeners out there, the millions of listeners out there, are inspired to come to the next Free Comic Book Day next year.
Yes. And even if you're not local to Los Angeles, Free Comic Book Day is a national and international event. So if you have a local comic shop in your area, they should be doing something, even if it is just handing out the free comics or having a special sale or doing some sort of event that is not necessarily a mini Comic-Con like we did, but something, arts and crafts, or something. There usually is something going on at your local comic shop on the first Saturday in May every year.
Absolutely. All right, guys, now it's time for Chisme de la Semana. And today, the chisme is Comadres y Comics are going to be at SheroCon this year. And I'm thinking it's going to be still at the Westfield Mall. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you're in the area and you want to go to Macy's, come by SheroCon, come say hello. I will not be having conchas, but we will be selling some of the books we reviewed. So if you guys are interested in supporting a female-led comic convention, definitely check out SheroCon. We will put a link in the notes. So that's the chisme. It's all of a sudden came to us like last week, so we're very excited to be participating yet again this year. I think the last time we participated, we were at LA Comic Con in the SheroCon alley, and that was really, really cool. So hopefully you guys can make it. Come say hello. We always love to talk to people who actually listen to the show or watch us on YouTube.
Yes.
All right. All right, guys. Now it's time for On My Radar. What is on your radar, Kristen?
So not sorry to the Comadres y Comics listeners, but I am going to talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl until your ears fall off. You all need to know that this lit RPG book is freaking amazing. It is the one Free Comic Book Day book that everybody was talking about this year. Everybody needed that book. We got calls for it. It was like, do you still have the Dungeon Crawler Carl book? And I was like, yes, we do. Can you save one for me? I'm like, sorry, it's first come, first serve. I don't know if that person ever showed up and got their book, but hopefully they did. But if you are living under a rock somewhere, that's the only excuse you have for not knowing about Dungeon Crawler Carl. It is a book that and this is something new that I learned, something called Lit RPG, which stands for Literature Role-Playing Game. And so it is a genre of fiction where you kind of have all the components of a role-playing game. And for example, a role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons, that's the biggest example that even people who've never played Dungeons and Dragons, they know what that means. So you take on characters, you roll dice to make moves, you have health stats, you have constitution stats, so all that kind of thing. That is what the setup for this story is. And so the basic backstory is that Carl, who is the main character, is the world ends and everybody that was in a building or in some kind of structure that has a ceiling, even a car, dies because they all just shrink up onto each other. They just like go, they all like an accordion, like go together and smush everyone inside. And any human that is left is presented with these stairs to go down underground, where there is a dungeon. And so the short explanation of the story is that Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, go down into this dungeon because they are somewhere where it's freaking snowy and cold. And if he stays out with no structure to hide under, he's gonna die. So they go down under, and it turns out that this dungeon, it's an alien invasion. They've taken over the earth. And if you go into the dungeon, you are now participating in this dungeon crawl, is what they call it, to survive and live and be released to live your life. And it is being televised to other aliens who, it's like a reality TV show to them, and they watch it and they get off on, the way I get off on the drama on Bachelor and Bachelorette, they get off on the carnage and the death and the dying in the dungeon crawler game. So anyway, Princess Donut is a talking cat because she actually takes on the role of a player when she goes down, and she's the best. She's my favorite. She's a sassy little cat that makes me laugh. And on my radar is the fact that this book, it is a fiction book, prose book, is on Webtoons for free. You can go onto Webtoons, and they have the whole first, I believe, volume. Right now there's 7 volumes, and the 8th volume is going to come out in on May 20th. So in a couple of weeks, a couple days, weeks, I don't even know what day of the week it is. But this comic book that came out on Free Comic Book Day is the first issue in print of the webcomic. So when I got it and I read it, I was a little disappointed because I'm like, oh, I already read this because I already started reading the webcomic. But the actual thing on my radar is that the first volume in its entirety is coming out also on May 20th. So volume 1 trade paperback of the Dungeon Crawler Carl comic, which is a print version of the webcomic, Webtoons comic, which is a comic version of the prose comic, is coming out in May. We're going to have some at the shop. All your comic book stores are probably going to have them. I just checked before we started recording this. There are 2 covers. One of the covers already sold out and on back order. So if you are a Dungeon Crawler Carl fan, you're gonna need to get your hands on this trade paperback coming out May 20th. Is it May 20th? Yes, on May 20th at your local comic shop. And I met so many Dungeon Crawler Carl fans that came into the shop on Free Comic Book Day. They came and got the comic, and I have a little section with stickers, and I had Dungeon Crawler Carl stickers in there. And every person that came up with the stickers, I'm like, oh my god, I love Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm like, me too. And we would have a moment. And my last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to probably say this over and over again on other episodes, but the last thing I'm going to say about it today, maybe, is I highly recommend that you listen to the audiobook. The audiobook is done by, I believe it's called Soundstage, and they do a whole production. It's not just somebody reading the book to you, which sometimes I get bored if the person's voice is like monotone or whatever. This dude is a voice actor. His name is Jeff Hayes, and he does all of the characters. There's like hundreds of characters in this book. I mean, there's a handful of main characters. I'm going to say like 20 to 30 main characters. He does all the voices, and he is so talented, and he makes it so engaging and entertaining. Like, I'm in so many Facebook groups for Dungeon Crawler Carl fans, and a lot of them have said that they are like on the 3rd listen of all the books. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to go and start over and probably pick up on things that I missed. But I'm telling you, it is so entertaining. I cannot recommend it enough. And since now I found out what Lit RPG is, people in these groups are recommending other books that they say not as good as Dungeon Crawler Carl, but same genre and same entertainment factor value. So I am like, I'm a whole new person, and it's my entire personality now.
Oh my God, you went hard on that. Hard. All right, guys, now it's time for our book review. What are we reviewing today, Kristen?
Well, today we are reviewing an anthology called, I didn't realize it was an anthology. I thought it was a book called The Childless. And then when I started looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is an anthology. So the anthology is, I have a little thing that you sent here on my phone that says it's an anthology featuring 13 stories by over 30 comic book creators that explores the corners of a world where a law has redefined family, society, and humanity. From the immense scale of a polarized world to the small scale of a one-child household, this dystopian world will make you think, overthink, and unfortunately ask, why is this world so close to ours? So basically, every child of separated parents must be sacrificed in the name of family values. And so if you are a child in a family whose parents just aren't feeling it anymore and decide to be divorced, then you literally get dragged away in the middle of the day, middle of the night, doesn't even matter, and they're taking you and they're euthanizing you. So the explanation of this story was that basically at some point in time, and this reminded me so much of Handmaid's Tale, as far as like how politics and government get overly involved where they shouldn't be, and then crazy shit happens. But basically there was a crisis on Earth where the birth rate was dangerously low, meaning that there were not enough babies being born to replace the amount of people who were dying. I think we're going to come across that here pretty soon, because so many people currently, I don't know what the generations are after Generation X. There's millennial, and then I think now there's Gen Z or something. But anyway, so many of the generations after Gen X are deciding to not have children. And actually, what's kind of funny, when I thought about it, a lot of my high school friends that I went to high school with, we all don't have kids. And I don't know if it was a choice for some of them, or it just happened, that they couldn't. I'm not sure, but when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. We don't have kids. But anyhow, so in this world, that happened, but then it got a little bit out of control, and there was a counter movement where three different factions were like, we have to take over, we have to take control, this is getting out of hand. The government encouraged people to have babies, and they gave them like stipends, so people got money for having babies. And so people were there was a religious portion of the society that was like, no, that is like really taking religion out of the family. There should be, a family is a mom and a dad and kids, and there should just really be a loving unit, and not just, women having babies to have money, to get money, and not really caring and taking care of them. And then there was a government portion that was like, oh, we need to take control of this, because they were not just concerned about the babies not being born with for them to replace people because they had a warm feeling in the heart for babies, but because they knew that it was going to affect the labor force, and there wasn't going to be enough labor. So that's why they encouraged women. And then there was a third one that I remember. It was some rich families or something that got involved. I don't remember. But anyway, the interesting thing about this is it's an anthology. So the creator of this anthology, who was, what's his, Osorio was his last name, Oscar. Yeah, Oscar Osorio, who's a Peruvian comic book writer and storyteller. And he's a economist whose work blends sci-fi, horror, and social commentary with a strong focus on global themes and underrepresented voices. So he puts together this world, and he solicits people to submit their stories to be in this anthology. And I had never heard of something like that before. Like, okay, there's a theme to anthologies. Like, we've done Touch Grass, we've done Mañana, we've done, a whole bunch of anthologies. It's kind of our thing that we do. But this is a world with laws and policies and all these little things that are part of the stories that were submitted and that affect the storyline. And I just thought that was genius. And I mean, maybe it's been done before. I'm sure that maybe it has. I just haven't known about it. And this really blew my mind.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was kind of expecting something else. In the whole, first of all, I didn't realize it was an anthology either. Although I must have read it was an anthology somewhere along the way, because I backed the Kickstarter on the digital level, and I just thought, first of all, I've always thought, kids and horror, don't do that to me, don't do that to the kids, like I can't stand it. But something about this stuck out, and that made me pledge, and in turn we got the comic. But the reason I think I put it on top of the list is because Mother's Day is coming, and I just thought this would be just kind of like a good kind of going from like celebrating mothers to now like we're talking about this world where there's a lot going on with the kids. I mean, also, I mean, not only if the patients get separated or divorced, but also if one of the parent dies.
Yeah,
they
that
come and take your
part
kid
was
and euthanize them.
very, I was like, wait, that they didn't choose that. That's not fair. I was mad when I read the first story where one of the spouses died and they came and took the kid away.
Yeah, exactly. And this particular comic book, I really love the way it wove the story around these blocks inside the Childless Chapter 1, Childless Chapter 3,
Yes.
2 and 3,
Yes.
where it was mostly just words, no, just kind of a bit of the art in the background, but it wove those stories into this bigger story, and that was just wow. I've never seen that before, and it was awesome.
Yeah, so like you were saying, Sarah, I was reading, it was just prose story in between some of the entries, and as I'm reading them, I'm like, oh wait, are they talking about that woman from the story that I just read? And so that was when they talked about the woman who had her sword or whatever she was killing me. Oh, her arrow, her bow and arrow.
It was a bow and arrow.
Yeah, when she when the story, the prose part was talking about that, I'm like, oh wait, and then I recognized that it was just like you said, they were incorporating different aspects of the comics that were in the anthology into this prose story that kind of just like unfolded along with the comics. So yes, I thought that was very ingenious of the book. Cause you know me, I'm like, words, I'm reading comics for a reason. I don't got time to read words, but when I figured that out, I actually went back and started, and cause I had just been reading and skipping, and then I went back and read it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I started reading it yesterday, and I thought to myself, I'm just gonna read a little bit and then I'll read the rest on Monday. I even emailed it to myself so I could pull it up at lunchtime at work. But I was so like just the book, the stories, the artwork was just so amazing. I couldn't put it down. It was just that good.
Mm-hmm.
It was, man, and the different aspects of these laws that were in place with the different stories was just amazing. I mean, they even, because first off, we're seeing all these parents that are being kind of like demons and sacrificing their children. I mean, there are some parents even parents were like their last day, like make it a nice day for their last day, and I'm like, last day? What are you?
And
are
these
you
are
killing
the
your kid
parents.
off?
These are the
Oh,
parents that weren't even divorcing; they were just done parenting.
yes, yes. And I was like, I gotta see the flip side to this. Like, there's gotta be some parents that love their kids, and interwoven in those stories were the parents that
Yeah.
would give it all their absolute 200% love to their kids and the sacrifices they made. Like, there was one story where this woman married her husband, and then he was like constantly cheating on her, and her daughter saw her mom suffering, but her mom refused to divorce the dad because they love their kid.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose their kid. They don't want to have it
Or she loved
her
him.
euthanized.
She loved her. Who knows what he
She
thought?
loved her kid. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but that
the
was
reveal
it was
of
such
that
a great
end of that
story.
I was having lunch and I gasped out loud when that panel showed, and I was like, oh my, and I said, oh my God, and everyone looked at me.
Yeah, that was very hard to just wow. That was, and opening the anthology to the first story about the trans child with the very powerful parents.
Mm-hmm.
That was just that's the story that gripped me and was like, you're not leaving until you finish this book, because man, those stories just kept getting just, oh my God. And then there was another story where there was a gentleman who took it upon himself to hunt down the parents that were planning on either getting rid of their kids or separating in order, and then the kid would die. And that guy, man, that was crazy. That ending. I was like, oh my God, that was so cool. But another one that caught my well, they all caught my eye, but the one where you know, when the one with the lady with the bow and arrow, I think that comes from like Irish folklore, because this is happening around the world. So there was that story that took place in Ireland, which I thought was really great. The artwork was amazing, and the representation of death was super cool. But the one that I was like, yeah, 100% was the one where the young girl with the parents who were planning on divorcing, and then she like devised strategies against her parents to make them stay together. Oh, she had that evil look on her face. I loved it.
She did have an evil
like when the
look
kids
on her
fight
face.
back. I loved it. Yeah, so I mean, you got different aspects of this big world that they built for us in these pages of the comic book, and it was just amazing. And some of it had a little bit of parallels of what's happening right now in politics, but it was just overall, it was just an amazing book. I didn't realize I was gonna love it so much. Just an amazing, amazing anthology.
I did not have any preconceived notions about it at all. So when I started reading it and I read the first intro about the world, and then started reading the stories and realized all of these stories are taking place within the parameters of the rules of what this world has been developed, I was like, oh my God, that's really interesting. So we get some stories about the politicians, about the people who are enforcing the laws, like in the in the story with the woman
Oh,
with the bow and
yes.
arrow, one of the guys even tells her, I didn't make the law. I'm, and you knew better than, you knew what was happening and what was going to come your way. And she really gave him what he deserved. But so yeah, you
Yeah,
hear,
and then even
and then stories from the kids' point of view, stories from people who are trying to save the children. There's so many aspects of the world, and a lot of the stories covered most of them.
oh yeah, I mean a lot of them, even the executioners of the children, we got stories from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that point of view, that it was just, damn, that last panel on the executioner was like crazy, crazy. Just and then we got a little bit of a kind of a epilogue within the chapters, the prose chapters about that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
executioner. So that was just like a little cherry on top. I mean, it was just like I don't know who thought of storytelling in this way, but I mean, just when you think there's no other way to tell a story, you get an anthology like this where it built you a world and then gave you the stories.
Yes.
And then in between that, some prose that connected all the other stories.
Yeah.
So it was just like on another level.
How long
And
ago did
right when I
you?
finished reading it,
How long ago did you back this?
uh, it was during that one day that I took the time to back a lot of projects back to back. It was that one day that I did all of them, like when I did the Black Anthology one and all of the. This was months ago,
Okay.
but but as soon as I finished reading, I'm like, what is Comadres comics about? It is about introducing these works that you probably will not see in your local comic book
Mm-hmm.
shop, but also a chance for you to purchase these. And I'm like, oh man, what if we can't purchase this now that the Kickstarter's done? So I went and looked for it, and yes, there is a website where you can purchase the digital copy for $9.99. And let me tell you, that is a freaking bargain. A
Wow.
bargain for this type of storytelling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can go to globalcomics.com, and that's globalcomics.com, and /c/the-childless. But I'm sure if you just go to globalcomics.com and put a search in for the Childless, it'll come up, or Oscar Rosario, it will come up. But yes, and I bet you there's all kinds of cool books on Global Comics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, if you guys are driving or at work and you don't have a chance to jot this down, it'll always be in the notes. So you could always look at the notes and find these websites, or the people that we're talking about. We'll probably tag them on the notes. So, I mean, we went all over this world and expected it on all, and we even got a story from kind of a cyborg
Yeah.
person.
Uh-huh.
So, because they built these, or they altered humans in order to fight the wars, and so they were kind of like obsolete after everything, and so we got even that aspect of the story about this world. But we went again, like I said, all over the world. I think we're ready to rate it.
Yes.
What is our rating scale?
So our rating scale is a scale of 1 to 3 conchas, 3 conchas being the most conchas that Jen's mom ever let her eat in one setting, so that was the best. If a book does not fit onto our 3 concha scale because it is just so amazing, then we give our own personalized rating. And I will start. This is Kristen, and I again just want to reiterate at how mind blown I was at the concept of making an anthology that was stories that all had to fit within the parameter of this world that was built for this purpose, and not just a theme to follow. I'm giving it the whole panaderia. I'm giving it all the conchas. I'm giving it a cup of champurrado. It was really so good, and I hope that all of you go onto globalcomics.com and find it and read it yourselves and let us know what you think, because if you are a sci-fi fan, you're gonna love it. If you are a dystopian future storytelling fan, you're gonna love it. I just really cannot say enough good things about this book.
Yeah, absolutely. And just thinking that I was inspired to read it because of Mother's Day just kind of put a whole spin on the holiday.
Uh-huh.
Totally different spin on it, but no, this was like incredible. Like I said, from the very first story, I was like sucked in, and the book would not let me go until I finished it. And that is a mark of an excellent, excellent book. The artwork was amazing. The just the feeling I got while reading the stories, whether it was like getting teary-eyed or whether I was feeling really angry, or where I was like feeling like, yeah, I want to be kick-ass like that lady with the bow and arrows. Like the whole thing was just incredible. It just moved me at all sorts of different emotions, and that is a lot. That is a lot for a book to do to one single person out there. So I'm gonna give it the whole panaderia, a cup of champurrado, the Mexican type of coffee where they put a little bit of tequila in there. Yes,
there's a Mexican
definitely.
type of coffee with tequila.
Yes, I had it in somewhere in Mexico by this university. It was in the square Cholula. No, Cholula? Yes, I think Cholula. Yeah. Yeah, they put a little bit of tequila. It was good. It was very good. Yeah.
Off subject, but there's a place,
Just
don't ask me what it's called, but there's a place somewhere here on the east side where you can go and get warm goat milk, and they put tequila in it and you drink it right off the teat. Grosses me out to think about it, but it's like a some sort of, not luxury, what's it called when it comes to food, delicacy.
you know what? I want to do that. I would do it at least once, definitely. I'll take Frank with me and do
Just
it.
the thought of warm milk, even if it's from my refrigerator and then into the microwave, grosses me out, but straight from the teat of the animal.
I don't think I've had anything straight from the teat. Even though I have been to Mexico, maybe I did when I was a kid and I don't remember, but I'm watching Euphoria, and one of the scenes, Rue is in crossing the border from Mexico into Texas, and then she gets taken in by like a family of like, I wouldn't say Mormons, but those people that wear the long skirts and dresses and don't do internet and whatever. Anyway, so this one of the little girls gives Rue a cup of milk, and she drinks it and she goes, "This is the best fucking milk I've ever had in my life." And she's like, "It's from Bessie, our cow." Oh, it must be good then. So that's why I would be excited to do warm, straight from the teat goat milk with the shot of tequila. Definitely.
It's
That's what
called
I'm gonna rate
something
it. Warm
specifically.
goat milk. I'm gonna look it up. That's the rating I'm giving Childless. Warm goat milk straight from the teat with a shot of tequila. That's gonna be my new favorite rating scale. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So guys, after this episode, you should definitely go and find this comic book and read it. It is so good. I think it's worth more than $9.99. But man, that's a bargain. That's a bargain. And that has been our book review. All right, guys, now it's time for Juntos y Fuertes. All right, guys, now it's time for Juntos y Fuertes. What do you have for us today, Kristen?
So today, I want to talk to you. I just barely got over Free Comic Book Day because it just happened on May 2nd. And if you don't know, Free Comic Book Day is a day that most, if not all, comic book shops have comics that the publishers create specifically to be given away, and it's to get people into comic shops, get them into reading comics, and hopefully create new customers for that shop. So basically, there is another shopping day that you all need to know about because you're listening to a podcast that has to do with comic books, and I need to let you know more than enough time in advance for you to attend local comic shop day. And this year it's happening on September 26th, 2026. It's always in September, I believe, from my memory. And it is organized by Comics Pro. Now, Comics Pro is a industry organization that helps to promote comic shops, help to move the industry, supportive services and channels along. They are a way for comic shops to communicate with publishers, with creators, with writers, and also with vendors. I just attended the Comics Pro annual meeting in February, and it's just such a great event for comic shop retailers. I cannot say enough good things about Comics Pro annual meeting. So if you happen to be listening and you are a comic shop owner, you need to reach out to me to ask me questions about Comics Pro, because I will answer you all the questions that you have or find the answers for you. But Comics Pro created this event, and it is an annual event designed to celebrate local independent comic book stores and their role in communities. And so the event is going to continue to focus on community engagement, with organizers encouraging publishers to provide event materials rather than just exclusive variants. So it's going to be on again September 26, 2026. If you have a local comic shop in your area and you want to help them, maybe plan something, put it together, be there that day, volunteer, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to do so. Local comic shops are exactly like what that description said. They're local hubs. They're places for the community. They're third spaces, places for people to go and feel at home away from home and just revel in their shared love for comics. So local comic shop day, September 26th. You got months to plan, and I suggest you go to your local comic shop this week and ask them, hey, what do you got planned for local comic shop day? And if you have some ideas, then ask them, hey, do you need some help? Would you like some ideas? And I'm sure that they would be more than excited to pick your brain over what you think would be cool. So yes, local comic shop day. Now I just backed myself into a corner, and I'm gonna have to do some sort of event.
Oh, that's great. You know, I can recommend something, tea and comics.
Ah.
We could serve tea and have them and read comics, or just have them come and have some tea. That would be super cool.
Uh-huh. Fun.
All right, guys, that was time for saludos. And saludos goes out to a very special couple that I met on Free Comic Book Day, but I didn't really just meet him at Free Comic Book Day. I feel like we've seen them at other conventions or events, and we chatted, and unfortunately I did not ask them their name, but the thing I remember is we were just chatting about the podcast, and uh the gentleman he got a concha, and he was like, oh, they were like, is this the pastry that Jen can only have three of? And I'm like, yes, because they actually listen to our podcast. They are right, they are, what is it called, they're current on our podcast episodes, because I also took our award, our spirit award from LCAP.
Yeah.
And they were like, is that the trophy you won at the convention in Modesto? And I'm like, yes, so you know. So they're up to snuff on all the chisme and all the episodes. And I want to say thank you so much for coming down to Free Comic Book Day and saying hello and having a concha with me. And they also purchased La Voz de Mayo and Under the Cottonwood Tree.
Yay!
So I mean, they are Comadres y Comics listeners, and also comic book fans. And they also asked if we were going to be at the San Diego Comic Con. So they're going to be there too. So hopefully we'll run into them there. But thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry I didn't get your names, or I don't remember even asking your names, and I'm sorry about that. But thank you so much, because I know now that at least we have 2 people out there listening to us.
Yay!
Bravo! Also, a special shout out to Jandro. Thank you so much for stopping by. He is the creator of Monty Gomez El Luchador. So check his stuff out too. But you also have a saludos, Kristen. Who are you saludando today?
I want to give saludos to the Touch Grass creative team and all of the creators who are involved. How to Touch Grass is a Kickstarter that is live right now. By the time you hear this episode, it'll probably have ended, but I know that I think they said that they were going to do the, like, I don't know what it's called, but where you can do like after pledges.
You could do a purchase after.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, this was their second go around with How to Touch Grass. Unfortunately, it did not meet its funding goal the first time, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it, because we interviewed them and because we did an amazing episode with them and put it out to the world. They have reached their funding goal, and How to Touch Grass is going to happen. If you have not backed it, I cannot recommend it enough. They gave us an early copy. Not even all of the stories were included yet, but even what we read was amazing, and I actually look forward to reading the book in its completed entirety. So saludos to all of the people. Who did we interviewed? Joamet. We interviewed 2 other people whose names I can't remember. But I'm so excited for them and so happy. So congratulations and saludos to you all.
Yes, I can't wait to get my copy. I actually backed the project as well, because even though I had already read what they sent us before the interview, which I knew that it wasn't complete, so I ordered it because I wanted to read it in its entirety. So congratulations to you guys, and congratulations to me, because I will be getting the book. So excited about that. All right. Thank you guys so much for taking the time and listening to our podcast. Now we know we do have listeners out there. Yay! Well, I always think we don't have any, but I'm always surprised to meet the listeners, and it's so exciting.
I got a message from somebody last week telling me that they loved our WonderCon episode. So we have 3 listeners.
Yay! But thank you for taking the time. We wouldn't be here without you. We wouldn't be celebrating 10 years of podcasting amazingness. Thank you again for sharing your time with us. We have been your host. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kristen. And no Jen.
No Jen. Wah, wah, wah. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.